Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Hussey, and I'm from Texas A&M University, and it's my privilege to be with you this evening to make a few brief comments and then after dinner some introductions. First, let me take time to welcome each and every one of you to the 2014 Annual Conference of the Academy of Medicine, Engineering, and Science of Texas, and to the Edith and Peter O'Donnell Awards reception and dinner this evening. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for attending this evening as we recognize our award winners. And I'd also like to take this time to thank our sponsors whose names appear on the back of your program throughout the hotel and will be displayed this evening on the screens behind us. Dinner will now be served, and I'll return in about 40 minutes to begin our program. Thank you. University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center, Stephen Holdridge, Texas A&M University, J. Tinsley Oden, the University of Texas at Austin, and Don Paul, the University of Texas at Austin. Please join me in thanking them. We also have several industry and community affiliates, members of the Industry and Community Affiliates Committee, J. Dan Bates with Southwest Research Institute, Larry Faulkner, the University of Texas at Austin, and Sarah Ortwin with ExxonMobil Upstream Research Company. Please join me in thanking them for their service. We have several presidents and chancellors with us tonight. Ronald Del Pinho, President, University of Texas, MD Anderson Cancer Center. Vistop Kabhari, President, University of Texas at Arlington, and I apologize if I mispronounce your name. Ted Mitchell, President, Texas Tech University Health Science Center. M. Dwayne Nellis, President of Texas Tech University. Daniel Podolsky, President of the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center. Again, please join me in welcoming them. And then Nobel Prize laureates that are here this evening, Bruce Butler, University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center, Michael Brown, the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center, Robert Curl, Rice University, Johann Dessenhofer, University of Texas Southwest Medical Center, and Joe Goldstein, University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center. Again, please join me in welcoming them. Have a special thank you to all the donors for the O'Donnell Endowment, which are listed in our programs. And then we have also some guests here which are past recipients of the O'Donnell Award in attendance this evening. And those are Dr. Brendan Lee, Baylor College of Medicine, who is the recipient of the 2009 O'Donnell Award in Medicine and a member of the Institute of Medicine. Dr. Beth Levine, University of Texas Southwest Medical Center, who is a recipient of the 2008 O'Donnell Award in Medicine and a member of the National Academy of Sciences. Dr. Lynn Liu, Princeton University, recipient of the 2006 O'Donnell Award in Engineering. Dr. Edward Marcotte, University of Texas, Austin, recipient of the 2008 O'Donnell Award in Science. Dr. Antonios Mikos, Rice University, recipient of the 2007 O'Donnell Award in Engineering and a member of the Institute of Medicine and National Academy of Engineering. Dr. Timothy Nedwood, ExxonMobil Upstream Research Company, recipient of the 2013 O'Donnell Award in Technology Innovation. And please join me in welcoming all of our past award winners of the O'Donnell Research. It's now my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Joe Goldstein, who will make some comments about the awards program, some comments about Edith and Peter O'Donnell, and then proceed with the recognition of our award winners. Joe L. Goldstein is currently chairman of the Department of Molecular Genetics at the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center at Dallas. In 1985, he was named Regental Professor of the University of Texas. He holds the Paul J. Thomas Chair in Medicine and the Julie and Louis A. Bichare Distinguished Chair in Biomedical Sciences. Dr. Goldstein and his colleague Michael Brown discovered the low-density lipoprotein receptor and worked out how these receptors control cholesterol homeostasis. Drs. Goldstein and Brown have shared many awards for this work, including the Lasker Award in Basic Medical Research in 1985, the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1985, and the National Medal of Sciences. This research team has not stopped there, but have continued on discovering the SREB family of transcription factors and showed how these membrane-bound molecules control the synthesis of cholesterol and fatty acids through newly described processes of regular intramembrane proteolysis. They've been recognized for this work by receiving the Albany Medical Center Prize in Medicine and Biomedical Research. Dr. Goldstein is currently chairman of the Albert Lasker Medical Research Awards jury. He's a member of the boards of trustees of the Howard Hughes Medical Institute and the Rockefeller University. He also serves on the scientific advisory boards of the Welch Foundation, Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, the Scripps Research Institute, and Massachusetts General Hospital. He's a member of the U.S. National Academy of Sciences and a foreign member of the Royal Society. Please join me in welcoming Joe Goldstein to the stage.
Well, thank you very much, Mark. So, in the 1950s, the most famous person in the world was not a movie star like Marilyn Monroe, nor an athlete like Joe DiMaggio. It was a lowly scientist named Albert Einstein. And shortly before his death in 1955, Einstein was asked by a panel of journalists what he considered to be the most powerful force in the universe. Was it gravitation? Was it the electromagnetic field? Or was it the then newly discovered strong interaction that holds quarks together in the nucleus? So Einstein's answer took the journalists by surprise, complete surprise. The most powerful force in the universe, according to Einstein, is compound interest. So, as we all know, the force of compound interest today is not nearly so powerful as it was in Einstein's day. But what we do have today is the powerful force of many creative scientists who can solve impossible problems, like the two-time Nobel Prize winning scientist Fred Sanger. And could I have the first slide, please? So Sanger won his first Nobel Prize in chemistry in 1958 for showing how amino acids are linked together to form insulin. And this discovery gave scientists the tools to analyze any protein in an organism, and it stimulated Francis Crick to conceptualize a genetic code in which the sequence of amino acids in a particular protein would be determined by a unique sequence of nucleotides in DNA. Not content to rust on his Nobel laurels, Sanger went on to invent an ingenious method for sequencing and reading the nucleotides that make up the DNA genetic code, for which he received his second Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1980. The beauty of Sanger's DNA sequencing method is that it lent itself to computer automation, providing the tools to read the complete genome of 3 billion letters. And the Sanger method has now been used to decode tens of thousands of genomes in virtually every major species of plants and animals. And without Sanger sequencing, there would be no biotechnology industry, and there would be no new breakthrough drugs for rheumatoid arthritis, macular degeneration, or breast cancer. Fred Sanger died several months ago at age 95, and obituary in The Economist dubbed him the father of genomics. And the obituary in Nature proclaims Sanger's impact on biology as dramatic and revolutionary as that of Charles Darwin. Next slide, please. So like Sanger, there's another creative scientist who was an exceptional force of nature, winning 2 Nobel Prizes in physics, John Bardeen. Bardeen won his first Nobel Prize in 1956 for inventing the transistor, which, as we all know, led to the integrated circuit, the microchips, and computers. And 16 years later, in 1972, Bardeen received a second Nobel Prize for his theory of superconductivity, which explained how certain metals conduct electricity, which led to the design of magnets used in MRI machines for medical imaging and diagnosis. Not only was Bardeen a great scientist, he was also an avid golfer. His passion for golf was as intense as his passion for science. And after he retired at age 65, he played golf every day, and at age 75, he hit a hole-in-one. And when asked how it felt, he said, "Well, I guess 2 Nobel Prizes are better than 1 hole-in-one." But that was before he hit his second hole-in-one at age 78. So if Albert Einstein were here with us tonight, I think he would agree that the compounding effect of creative scientists like Fred Sanger and John Bardeen is a much more powerful force in the universe than the compounding effect of interest. There's so much for Einstein, Sanger, and Bardeen. It's now time to watch a video that attributes to this year's 4 O'Donnell laureates, whose discoveries illustrate how the compounding effect of young creative scientists is key to solving difficult and challenging problems. And the video will also remind us of the powerful and wonderful compounding effect of the 2 individuals who have made tonight's event possible, Edith and Peter O'Donnell. Thank you. And the first presenter will be Dr. David Russell, who is Vice Provost and Dean of Basic Research at UT Southwestern. David.
Thank you, Dr. Goldstein. UT Southwestern's Dr. Richard Burke is being honored with the 2014 O'Donnell Award in Medicine for his discoveries in the field of oxygen sensing. All of our cells and tissues require oxygen, and there are complex mechanisms at work within individual cells that sense the level of oxygen. When oxygen is in excess, the sensing mechanism is turned off and cells function normally. When oxygen becomes limiting, the sensing response is turned on and cells alter their function in order to weather the loss. In a brilliant series of experiments carried out over the last decade, Dr. Burke made 3 important discoveries in oxygen sensing. First, he isolated the protein that turns the oxygen sensing mechanism on and off, and he showed precisely how this protein flips the switch. This otherwise very basic research has led to the development of drugs that are now in late-stage clinical trials for the treatment of anemia. Second, Dr. Burke identified a drug-like molecule that can be used to turn the oxygen sensing switch off once the body has turned the switch on. This research also has great implications in the clinic, as many cancers turn the oxygen sensing system on, which allows tumors to grow faster. Dr. Burke's studies show that his drug-like molecule will turn the switch off in cancer cells and kill them. Clinical trials to test the compound in cancer patients are currently in the planning stages. Dr. Burke's third discovery relates to blood. Red blood cells transport oxygen throughout our body, and in order to do this, they have to have just the right amount of iron. Dr. Burke identified a protein that senses both iron and oxygen and ensures that red blood cells have a Goldilocks amount of iron. Extending this analogy, recognition of Dr. Burke's discoveries in oxygen sensing with the O'Donnell Award in Medicine is not too early and not too late in his career, but just right. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Richard Burke.
Thank you. I, again, want to reiterate my thanks to the O'Donnells for not only sponsoring this award, but for the many years of support that they've given my institution and the research that we've been trying to conduct. And again, as I said earlier this afternoon, while I'm very happy to accept this award, it really is a reflection on a number of people who have worked for me and worked with me over the years, and the quality of the institution in which I work that allows me to do the types of science that we're interested in doing. So again, thank you.
Rick, they want to take a picture.
So the next award will be presented by Professor Nicholas Pepys, Professor of Engineering at the University of Austin.
Tom Truscott is an example of how Texas has grown a magnificent generation of young scientists that we are all proud of. Tom was born and raised in a loving family in Longview, Texas, along with his brother, who is now a lawyer in Houston. And then, as an undergraduate, he came to the University of Texas, the chemical engineering department that he is directing now, where he had the pleasure and I would say the tremendous fortune to meet one of the great scholars of our field, Professor Isaac Sanchez. Those of you who work in the field of materials recognize the Sanchez and Lacombe theory and many other theories. And Tom, since that very early age, started working on thermodynamics, on materials properties, on understanding the molecular structure. After he finished, he went to Princeton University, where he fell upon another giant in the field, the famous Pablo De Benedetti, who, of course, was a dean, and he's now vice president at Princeton University. And I might say also something else. At that time, he met a young lady who was his classmate, Lynn Liu, and who became the first recipient of this award in 2006, and who is with us tonight in the audience, coming to see her classmate. At about the same time, he started working on a series of very important problems in thermodynamics of liquids, confined liquids, some of which problems became really particularly important in the field. Subsequently, he was a postdoc at the University of California at San Francisco, where he worked with Ken Dill, another major figure in the field of fluid mechanics, of macromolecular structures, a former postdoc of Paul Flory, of course, who is a Nobel laureate of 1974 in chemistry. And this really gave him the background that led to his coming here in 2001 and becoming a leader, an international leader in the field of confined fluids, confinement of molecules and macromolecules and structures, understanding really all the characteristic behavior that such systems show, when they are placed under special conditions in real fluids. Rather than telling you too much about the work, I'll say one thing. For Tom, new things are not scary things. Tom is most creative when he gets into a new field where he might not know very much. When he comes into a new field, he can see what is missing and that the real experts in the field have not noticed. For Tom, it is important to talk with people that have different views. And this collaboration, among other things, have led to a tremendous collaboration with Keith Johnston, a member of the National Academy of Engineering, who is with us tonight, and Jennifer Maynard, in order to create the new generation of protein structures and protein systems and protein injections that could really be used in patients in order to improve the quality of life of patients as they deliver drugs to specific sites. I'll close with a comment. When I wrote the nomination, I used very good friends to write the letters of recommendation, several of them members of the Academy from other states. And one of them said, I consider Tom Truscott as a leading figure worldwide in the field of statistical mechanics and molecular simulation of fluids and biomolecular systems. Attributes which set him apart from other researchers in the field are the fundamental nature of his research interests and contributions. With his discerning eye and excellent physical intuition, Tom Truscott has been able to produce results of great conceptual value which eluded previous investigators. And he goes on to say towards the end, this record places him in the very top of his peer group. I will not be surprised if he is elected to the National Academy of Engineering in the next 5 years or so. As a colleague of his in chemical engineer and as his co-chair, I am in biomedical, he is in chemical chair, I am delighted that he has been recognized with the 2014 Edith and Peter O'Donnell Award in Engineering. Tom?
So, Nicholas, thank you very much for those comments. I'm really speechless. I'd like to just first say thank you very much to the O'Donnells for everything they've done for the University of Texas and for the state of Texas in computational research. When I arrived at the University of Texas, I think I asked for $7,000 for computing facilities for my lab, and I was wondering, what agencies and what grants were going to enable the next 10 years of computational research. And within a month, I had realized that TAC and ISIS at the University of Texas had put together one of the most incredible computational resources anywhere in the world. And for the past 12 years, we've taken advantage of that. And it's really enabled the kind of research that can't be done anywhere else in the world. And so it's a real honor to have been selected as a faculty candidate initially and ultimately taken in the University of Texas. And I just feel very honored to be a part of the science going on in this state and at the University of Texas. If I think sort of more broadly about people that I'm thankful for, it really comes down to a group of people who have helped to influence my life. So it's my family, colleagues, mentors, and now the leadership at the University of Texas. And they all sort of share a couple of qualities that I think are important. One is that they've provided me with all the resources that I need to be successful. And the second is they expect the world of me. And so if I can pass anything on down to my children and to sort of the future students in computational research, it's those two things. Give people the resources that they need to reach their goals and then expect the world of them. So thank you for everything that you've done. It's an honor to be awarded with a mid-career award. I know it reflects the students and the colleagues and the mentors every bit as much as it does me. I don't think I have a single intellectual contribution that comes only from me. So anyway, thanks for everything, and I appreciated the opportunity to be able to say that.
Thank you. So now I would like to ask Professor Robert Curl, Professor Emeritus of Chemistry at Rice, to come. And Dr. Curl was a Nobel laureate in chemistry in 1996, so he will present the next award. Dr. Curl.
Dr. Wren is a synthesizer of interesting new nanostructured materials. He's been incredibly creative in a wide range of new materials with an excellent eye towards their application. The range of his work goes all the way from synthesizing materials that were essential for understanding the new high temperature superconductors' properties to materials that are used for very practical industrial applications. So to give you a brief listing of what he's done, he's created, he was the person who was able to make the material that was essential for proving that high-temperature superconductors had a very unusual property in the interaction of their electrons. He was a pioneer in the synthesis of a forest of carbon nanotubes that is used extensively now. He was the first person to develop the wide variety of zinc oxide nanotubes. These two applications, these two developments have led right to a whole new fields of nanotechnology research. He carried out practical things with respect to using nanotechnology for the delivery of drugs in medicine and also for the analysis of proteins, developing techniques to do this. And he also developed a new kind of thermoelectric materials that are superior to most of the others and have the very desirable property of being able to be made economically. The result of that is that he's been involved in the foundation of two companies that have brought a total of about $35 million in venture capital funding. He also has, I have to get the right amount, he has sorry, 28 U.S. and international patents, 300 publications in the most prestigious scientific journals. His publications have attracted a lot of interest, as evidenced by the 17,000 citations of his publications. The Thomson Reuters company analyzes the citations and has concluded that he is one of the top material scientists in the world. So other recognitions include the election to fellow in the American Physical Society and fellow in the American Association for the Advancement of Science. So in this year, when we were evaluating the science candidates, we discovered that we had an exceptionally strong group of candidates for the Science Award, O'Donnell Award, and Dr. Wren stood out completely. So, without further ado, Dr. Wren.
Oh, yeah, Dr. Ray.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, Professor Bob Curl, for the nice introduction. I'm very happy, also very excited to be here, receive this great prestigious prize, and especially with great people like you here in such wonderful resort facility. You can't imagine how much it really means to me. I was born and raised in a very poor family in China, a very rural place. I was the youngest of 7 siblings in my family. What I remembered was the struggling of my parents by working very hard in the field, very early in the morning. Of course, we didn't have electricity. Whenever sun is rise, they go out to work in the field and try to get enough food to feed his family. Even that, still didn't have enough food. Everybody was hungry. I was hungry. Even my family, as the only meat supplied to the family, raised the pigs, also hungry. I was asked to share the room with the pig. Basically, one part is the pig's part, one part is my part. And the pigs were so hungry and couldn't sleep and make all the noises. And luckily, I was sleepy enough. I could sleep. So, and I learned all those hard-working habits from my parents. I was very lucky. 300,000 high school students graduated in 1980 out of, 10 million, 20 million, or way more than that, maybe, I think more than 100 million high school students get into college. So after I arrived at college campus, very first time I saw Apple. So you can imagine, I saw Apple. And I was so shocked. I was asking myself, this can't be. Apple is such a fruit or something. I knew this word in the high school textbook. How could it be in the world? So at that time I said, wow. Later on, of course, I learned the story in China saying that Newton discovered the gravitational law by observing apple falling to the ground. And I was telling me, boy, I wish I had born earlier than Newton. So anyway, so it has been a long way for me to get here. I did all my degrees in China, and so after I came to U.S. in 1990, I did a postdoc at the SUNY Buffalo, and I stayed there for a few years as a postdoc, as a research faculty, and then moved on to Boston College. At that time, many people told me that there's no way you're going to find a faculty job in this country because your degree is from China. But my advisor, Professor J.H. Wang, who is 93 years old already, he really encouraged me and believed in me that if you work hard, you get good work done, you will have your chance. You will have your time to do well. I thank him for that. So anyway, I have a couple more, sorry to take a little bit more time, have a couple more stories to share with you. After I went to Buffalo, the first day I went to campus. When I saw the sign parking lot, and that made me wondering, what does this lot mean? I know parking is for you place your car there. What's lot mean? So that you know what my English level at that time. And also, a few months later, I started to learn driving. I got my learning permit. So I drove to practice my driving, drove to a place where I saw lots of radar detectors for speed detecting. I was wondering, why they install so many radar detectors here? And I started to slow down driving. Obviously, there were a lot of radar detectors for speeds. And later on, I learned those were mailboxes for the houses. So anyway, so that shows how long a way for me to came here tonight. And I really appreciate the opportunity to receive this award. And I do have a few people I want to thank. First, let me thank my laminator, I know is Paul Chu. He unfortunately could not be here tonight. Even though he's not physically here, I know his mind is here. He really helped me. He changed my life path twice when I was doing my graduating from my master's degree, and he discovered his high TC superconductivity. That made me to pursue my PhD degree study in superconductivity. And then back in 2012, he visited Boston College where I was, and he changed my life path again, and he recruited me to University of Houston that year. And as I already thanked my former advisor at Buffalo, and also I would like to thank Professor Bob Curl again as the chair of the subcommittee for science, choose among many outstanding researchers and choose me as the receiver for this award. And also I would like to thank all the people who worked in the lab, contributed to all the good work has been recognized here. My parents, obviously, as I told you, I came from a poor family. My parents never went to a single day of school. They don't know even read big, so this is one in Chinese, and they even don't know how to read that. But they believed education is a way to get out of the poverty. So they sent me to school, and that's how I got here. And also I would like to thank my parents-in-law who were my teacher, elementary and middle school teacher, and they couldn't be here today. And my last and not least, my wife sits there, and my family, I have two boys, our own boys. They one graduated a year ago, and now is working for a company, startup company, and they just recently made a very headline news in New York Times, saying news everywhere for this small company.
One more thanks.
And anyways, thank you to be here. That's sorry to take so much time, and I'm happy. Thanks.
So the next award will be presented by Dan Bates, who is president and CEO of the Southwest Research Institution in San Antonio. Mr. Bates.
Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate all of the recipients tonight. Those of you that were able to attend the presentation of the recipients this afternoon, if you saw that, you witnessed how brilliant these people really are, so congratulations. I'd also like to congratulate the staff for the film that they did tonight. It was really a good film, but I'm afraid it took away most of my material, so I think they were looking over my remarks. Well, it's a distinct pleasure to introduce Dr. James Walker. He joined our staff in 1988, right after finishing his PhD in mathematics. We knew he was a fast starter when we brought him on board, but let me give you a little bit of example. This is the fellow who skipped his senior year in high school to go to the university. Then he spent 2 years getting his undergraduate degree at the ripe old age of 18. You know, I'm proud to say that we have a lot of smart people at Southwest Research Institute, but James is really exceptional. He specializes in impact physics and penetration mechanics. These are dynamic events that involve objects such as bullets and space debris traveling at very high speeds. The research he's done in this area led to the development of the Walker-Anderson model, and it describes how bullets penetrate armor. And this model has helped vehicle and body armor manufacturers design better protection for our soldiers and law enforcement officers. Now, you saw in the film where he did some outstanding work on determining the cause of the Space Challenger, the Columbia accident, but he also led a team that were able to determine when they would be able to return to flight. Their impact modeling made that possible. So it's no surprise to me or any of the staff at Southwest Research Institute that James has been selected for this award. He is a technical innovator in every sense of the word. So, James, would you come up and get your award? Well, I guess we'll let you say your remarks, then we'll give you your award.
Well, thank you, Mr. Bates. And I'd like to thank the TAMEST organization for providing this award and providing this wonderful conference. I've had the privilege of working at Southwest Research Institute now. It's my first job out of college, and it's been a place that's provided the necessary equipment and facilities in order to pursue research programs. And I've been really blessed, I think, to have been able to work on some hard problems that actually had solutions. You know, there are other kinds of hard problems, but these ones were ones we could actually make some progress on, so that was great. I'd like to thank a few people. My longtime colleague and boss, Charlie Anderson, is here, and also other colleagues at Southwest, Don Grosh, Sidney Chokran, and others that I've had the privilege of working with over the years. A number of the administration of Southwest Research are here tonight, in addition to Mr. Bates, but also Mr. Walt Downing, our Executive Vice President, and Danny Doffenbaugh, who's President of Mechanical Engineering, so I thank them for their support. I'd also like to thank my family. They do a lot for your course in life, and my parents really emphasized education, and my father's here this evening, was able to come and join us, which is wonderful. And also my wife Debbie and daughters Bryn and Tess are here, so thank you very much.
All right, so Mark, will you reappear and close our program for the night? And again, we want to thank Edith and Pete O'Donnell for this wonderful event.
Well, once again, I'd ask you to please join me in congratulating tonight's awardees. And now, before we adjourn, I have three things to leave you with. First, and maybe most important, is that there will be a reception in the Schellers Club following this dinner tonight. I understand you go out the back and turn left, and there will be individuals that will direct you to the reception. Also need to remind you that there'll be a breakfast buffet in the morning between 7:15 and 8:15. And then most importantly, at 8:30 tomorrow, the program will begin promptly at 8:30 with a keynote address by Dr. Henry Markram. So again, thank you very much for attending. Thank you so much for our sponsors, for our past award winners, for being here this evening. Thank you.